Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your DevOps SRE DevSecOps coach. Okay, so session number one, which I would like to cover, some of the Linux administrator command. Okay, the command which is mostly used by Linux administrator for troubleshooting and admin work. So some of the commands, again, we have so many commands actually. Linux is limitless, so but we'll have to cover some of the popular command. And after that, I'm going to teach you one tool we are going to start today, and that is called Docker. Okay, so we'll have a two sessions on Docker. So here, Docker user commands here again, and here I'm going to ask you to become a developer creating a Docker image. Okay, so this is something which I'm going to ask you for it. So these three are very important for DevOps and SRE and DevSecOps because without this, it's very difficult to get into the uh, DevOps world and SRE world. So you want to become a software engineer, you need to have this fundamental sessions and knowledge and all. So okay, so let's get started with admin commands. So what I would do, let me go to the Google, and here you write Linux administrator commands and end of just put it the DevOps code. Now this is the one page, though we have so many tutorials for it, but this you can take it as a starting point. And here we have most of the commands which I feel you should know. So if you see that here, these are the 44 commands we have, though we have thousands of commands, there's no problem in it, but these are the good to go. Okay, so let's get started. So where is my machine? This is the machine which I am having yesterday created, but I forgot to shut down. So it's like I built for 24 hours. That's okay. I'll try to shut it down after this session. So yeah, so this is the machine I'm going to use it, and I'm Ubuntu user. So what is this? And I think yesterday we discussed about it. Sudo is one of the command or tool, whatever you want to call it. For what reason? So you want to elevate your access, then you're going to use for this. I mean, you're going to use this. So typically, yesterday I've shown you this one, so I'll just ignore it. If you want to create one user account, then you can use user add command. Okay, so if you want me to do that, user add, and then what username you want to add it, Ramu. Okay, and here you see permission denied. So either you become a root or become a sudo, and done. Now guys, when I add this user using commands, see, the fundamental should be very straightforward. See, commands are doing nothing but writing something in the file. Okay, whether it's a Windows command or Linux command or Mac commands, basically it's writing certain things in the file. So you don't have to remember so many files, thousands of different files, but you can remember these commands. Easy to do the work faster, better. So which file it has modify? I mean, in case of any command, for the sake of it, it modifies certain things. So in this case, which file it modify? So if you go to this file, etc passwd. So this file, you have all the users which is of the system. You see, starting with root, and I think I just added Ramu, right? So look at this here at the bottom section. So this is the file, you must remember that. So similarly, now I gave you the pattern etc. So any of the system files will be located in etc. So I would suggest you sometime you spend with the etc directory, and here you find lots of files. And you know what, you have to work throughout your career in these files if you are an administrator. sometime init dot I mean service file, sometime cron, sometime setting up the environment, sometime host name, sometime group, sometime users, sometime many things actually, network settings, services, process, a lot of things. So just get comfortable with it. At least just spend. You don't need to remember everything because it's a huge, but you just get comfortable. These are the files you see here. These are the file for cron here, and here these are the some of the directories for the services, right? So these are the directories. Slowly you get used to it. So user add is a command which I showed you. Similarly, there's one file which is called group. So let me show you group. GROU. So all the Linux group you will find in this. So let's see how many groups we have. See, so many groups we have, and really long file actually. So that means in this machine, see, by default, when you create a user, the along with the user, you create a group also. Ramu is created group. So that is how it is actually. So user add, a simple command, but you need to remember there's a two file which I showed you, so it will be helpful. By the way, I just run this one, but it has a hundred tens of parameters. Like you want to shell the path, shell some environment variable. There's a lots of combinations which you have. If you want to modify certain user which is already there, user mod is the one. You can also edit that file. Typically, what I do, because I have it now, so I just modify this file and work is done. So that is also you can do that. But yeah, for time being, till you get comfy, you can use this command. If you want to delete some file, I mean user, so user del and done. Sudo is required. Done. So like this. You want to add a group. This is the command. You want to modify the group and you want to delete the group. Simple and straightforward command. So in Linux, if you want to as a user and group, you have this command. Chown and chmod, though it is a very powerful command, but I covered in the last session in the user training. So I will ignore it this one, but yeah, you have to practice a little bit of it. Change group. So if you want to change the group of certain files and owners, then you can use this command. What is this? So if you want to change the password, your own password, or you want to change the user password, someone else user password, if you are admin, then you can use this one also. For example, I have used the key, but if I can change the password also, so PSWD, enter. So what is the password? Your Ubuntu password. So Rajesh 123, and what is this? It's not allowed. Why? There is a problem here. If you see, authentication token manipulation error, password unchanged. So it's not allowing it in this machine, though it will work for you if you are trying the VMs in the laptop. But for here, there is a problem. What is the problem? So I know that if you Google it, you will get the problem. Basically, in this machine, password authentication is disabled. Yes, AWS, whatever the machine you create, password authentication is disabled. You have to go and enable it, using modifying the SSD configurations. But in Azure, it's not like that. You can enable the password, and you can enable the key also. Let me tell you here. When I say AWS, by default, they allow you to log in with keys. That does not mean password cannot be used. You have to enable. It's not the AWS is prohibiting actually. So how do we enable? So there is one file under etc and ss sshd.conf. This one I told you, right? Every configuration files you have to refer this one. There's only one directory you should remember for the system configurations. This directory. Inside that, a lot of it. Slowly you get used to it. So here there is a file, and the file. What is this? I'm not not able to list that though. I'm inside this. Okay, so the file itself is missing actually. So conf file is missing, and that's the reason it was not coming. So in this machine, the VM has not been configured for password, and that is the reason it is missing. So this file I have to copy from the different servers to get it. So I'll not, deviate from that topic. So this is the problem. So in this directory, there's a one file, and we can modify. So it's not there actually. Okay, so you can do that also. So let's say if you want to change the password, you can use this command. It will work for this. Now again, what is this? And I want you to spend time with this command. So you create one user. Let's say I'm creating one user. So user add, sorry, user add Raj1. Okay, sudo Raj1 and done. Now, if I want to access as a Raj1, so what we have to do? Login as a Raj1. So su Raj1 and password I don't have. So unfortunately, let me try sudo pswd Raj1 Rajesh123 Rajesh123 done. So now I'm going to log in as a Raj1. Okay, so Rajesh123 done. Who are you? Sorry, my bad. Who are you? See, your terminal is with Ubuntu, but what you're logged in with Raj1. See, so when you say who, your terminal will be shown. That means the first user. But which logged in right now? ID. Okay, and W means uh, all the user who has connected to this terminal. So W means list of terminals. PTS0, this is the terminal. Okay, so right now this machine only connected with one terminal, and this is my public IP address. That means if you want to find out, okay, anyone who has connected to your machines and from where, so here this is my public IP address. When I say public IP address, that means my public IP, and see here 255 Google is telling you. So no, sorry, this is not the one. It should be matching with 182. So how can we get it? My IP, enter. You, usually it was coming as a Google, what is my IP, but now Google has removed. Here it is. So they are giving you this is IPv4, but I want the I mean IPv6, but I want IPv4. So how do we get it? This Google has removed this functionality earlier. It was there. Okay, so what is my IP? There's I'm going to use some I mean website, and this is the one. See, I'm using Vati Airtel, and this is the IP address 182. So you see 182, correct now? So this is the stuff. So yeah, these are some of the commands. So what I was trying to do was different, right? So yeah, what is a Visual Studio? So there's one user I created, Raj1, and Raj1 he's trying to run some commands. So let me using Raj1 sudo and apt install git. Okay, I'm trying to install the git in this machine and see what is error. It's asking for the password, and I'm giving the password Rajesh123, and see what it says. Raj1 is not the sudoer file. In the sudoer file, this incident will be reported. That means, remember that is very important for you. Users has to be a part of sudoer's file, and with certain configuration, then only he can do the sudo. So Ubuntu, I did not do the configuration. It was a part of the image, VM image itself. So Ubuntu was a part of that sudo file. So Ubuntu was able to do sudo, but Raj1 which is the new user, is not able to part of, is not a part of that files, is not do that. So the question is, how can you do that? So you can modify this, as I said, directly. Also you can modify the sudo files, or this is the command to modify the sudo files. So here what I'm going to do, exit. I'll become a Ubuntu with a sudo and which sudo with Visual Studio, because this command can be run only with the sudo or in root. And you see, now if you see this file, this has a nano editor. It has opened in a nano editor. Nano editor is little bit different than vi editor. Okay, though you can change this editor. There's a editor commands in the cap. You can set it up default editor, but that's okay. So for time being, if you see that, here all the configurations are there, who's allowed, who's not allowed, all this thing. So here, if you want some user to allow something as part of, you know, um, some activities, then you can modify this file. And here I am adding, just okay, Raju1. Here I'm saying, hey, Raju1 can do everything. So like this. Okay. So here, and again, spend some time to understand the specifications. This is the user privilege specification. This is the group. This is also group of groups. So like this, there's many entries are there, and this is the location for directory. Any specifications will be there in this directory. As I said, every configurations will be there. And then here you can exit and save it. Yes, and so likewise, if you want to work with this, you want to add a new user, you have to add here. Now this command, I mean, any services you want to start in Ubuntu or CentOS and RHEL, this is a common command for us. So it's very straightforward. You want to start the some services, let's say start systemctl start Apache or any MySQL D or whatever it is you want to start, stop, restart, status, enable, disable. So start, stop, restart, you understand, very straightforward. But what is enable and disable? So enable means, see what happens when you have a services and which you started. So when you reboot the server, again automatically it will not restart. Okay, so what do we do in this case? So you have to add in init.d as a, I mean, there's so many places we have, but right now don't want to complicate. This is the place, automatically it will get started. If you have to enter in this, automatically it will get started. So if you enable some services, so automatically it will start in the reboot, on reboot, and disable it so it will not start in the reboot. So like that. So yeah, these are the handy commands. Now, guys, this is one of the utility which has recently introduced from last few years, and will help you a lot many ways. Okay, if you have an error, this is the utility to look for it. What do you get it? Logs of the last error which you got reported. Okay, so if any errors you come across, just try this one, and this will help. Sorry, come with this one and clear the screen, enter. See, so all the logs you will get it here, the last created. Again, you can keep hitting that and get these logs. Now you see the just this is I mean, I'm not using this server for anything else, so hardly you see any logs from the application point of view, but you see all the kernel logs, you see that, and some of the you know cannot get HVM read and all. So right now, because applications are not running in this, I have not run any application. Only the VM has a operating system kernel. So you will see that. So yeah, this is the one place you will find the complete log. But yeah, I mean, if you want to specify something better, as per the service, Nginx service, so you can put it up like this, or you want to only get the error message, so like this. So I would request you to spend 10 15 20 minutes for this commands and try to understand. See, this is the time frame in which you want to see the logs. And you want to see the logs by the PID number. Here it is. And you want to see the logs by the user Apache and service with error from last day. Wonderful command actually. So these commands will help you a lot of time, lot of hours actually to get the logs system wide. So very powerful command. You must spend some time. Now top command. So top basically is an interactive command. What do you get it? So basically, if you want to understand, it's interactive. That means the moment you run it, you'll get into their console actually. So it's not like you run and come out of. It's a live streaming, you can say, kind of it. So here you have a some CPU, RAM, load, input, output, some zombie. Look at this here. So total process running 98 and one running means what could be that one. So here if I see system D is the one which is running in the top, you look at the first one which is running, but remaining are sleeping. Why? Remember that Linux kernel I told you CPU allocations is happening to the process which is always running. Remember that kernel session?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
remember 97 is consuming the RAM but not CPU. That's the region is sleeping. So these all are sleeping. You see the CPU utilization 0000. So likewise, and memory utilizations you see here. So all are sleeping. So the moment you start using application, start running. Simple. So that is how. So CPU utilization, memory utilizations, you have to understand. Now, what is a zombie process, guys? Anyone have idea? What is a zombie process?
The process which does not have the root parent ID, parent root ID.
Wonderful. Yes. Very well definition. I mean, good definition. See here, guys. What happens? It's very simple thing. Uh, this is the root process. I mean, everything comes from zero. You see here, everything come from zero. Everything come from nothing, right? And then this is the one process ID, which is your system D, which is running your kernel. You see here. Yes, and I think kernel session also I explained it to you, PID one, and followed by you have a process two, and then three. Then this two is you, Rajesh. This says, let's say Patrick, all this thing, and here you have Rajesh is running Apache, and Tomcat, and Patrick is running MySQL. So this is become 4, 5, 6 like this. So now the question was, what is a zombie process? So guys, what happens? There is a two ways to kill that process. One is like graceful, and one is forceful. So graceful means what happens when you try to kill this process. First, the parent will be killing this process, and then parent process will be killed. Okay, so that's called graceful. But what happens? This process which you are running right now is running, but you kill their parents. You kill their parents. So the child process, the one which you have, they will become a zombie because they will not be able to find who's my parents. So they'll become a zombie. It's like a movie, right? So here, same way, zombie process we have. So when you kill the parents, childs will become a zombie, child process. So that means the process which have a no parent will a zombie process. Now this is a very important work for you actually, because in the server many process will become a zombie over the period of time and consume lots of CPU and RAM actually. So what you have to do, you have to identify the zombie process, and few more commands are there, strays and all. Again, if you Google it, how to work with the zombie. 10 more commands you get it in Linux. So that is how you have to work on it and then get it done. So yes, top. You should look at it all this stuff and practice it. HTOP is also interactive, but actually it's a, you can say top is a V1 version one. HTOP is a V2. Okay, so I don't know HTOP is there by default or not. Let me check. Yes, there. So here you get a better visualization, shorting, and lots of good UI and all kind of things. So this is something which you can look at it right now. These are the services running and so on. So control C, if you do, it will come out of it. Df and du command we discussed last time. Free is a very simple and handy command which will help you to how much RAM, CPU and all it's available for you. Basically RAM, not CPU. So you see that total RAM. I mean, I can't read this number. It's very difficult. So I'll add this hyphen H. Then it's easy for me. So total RAM I have given to this machine was 1 GB, out of which available free shared buffer and all swap memory 0. Any machine you create on the Linux, in AWS or Azure, swap will be by default 0. You can add a swap memory. By the way, what is a swap memory? Anyone have idea?
No, no.
So what happens, understand this way. So this is a system, okay? And in the system, you have one memory, the one which has been given. In my case, it was 1 GB. But you are running certain applications, and memory, remember that memory is for running the storing the register. Yesterday, I mean last day in kernel session, I talked about it. CPU is for running the application, memory is for storing the data, primarily used for that. So here, if you have 1 GB here, and this application required lots of memories to store the temporary data registers, so what to do? Because you are not having the more than that. So typically what we do, there's a disk, right? Disk is there. So what we do, we create a disk itself as a storage point. One part of it we set it up, we will use as a swap memory. That means if it is a full, you can use the disk to store the data, and then later on we'll take it up and then use it. It's like a temporary memory. So here swap memory, you don't have it. So you want to increase the swap memory, there's a certain commands again you have to use it to increase this. So let me show you some of the commands. um, Linux commands to add swap memory. Uh, this we basically we this you have to do in Kubernetes specifically, because Kubernetes needs swap memory. So what is the command for this? So this is also will work, but these are all the advanced command. I don't want to use it. Swap. These all the not required. Only one command was there, which I'm not able to find it quickly. There's a many commands for one work actually. So my favorite command, again there's a multiple tools are there. Okay, so let me show you. I forgot that command actually. So there's a many command for one work. My favorite command I want to show you. So here, so this command you can enable for that and disable for this. So here this command is disabling the swap off, and swap on, if you do, it will create a by default 2 GB or something like that. So this is something which we use it. Okay, so now, huh. So now guys, here you have a few commands which I want you to focus on it and spend some time. And these are few commands which includes vmstat, iustat, mpstat and all. So these are the very important command for administrator, not for user. Okay, so sometime you will come across a situation where you'll be asked to do the troubleshooting in Linux, and most of the operations you will be having is like, okay, my system performance has degraded a lot. uh, I'm having lots of CPU, I mean consumption, RAM consumption. I don't know where we are losing this CPU and RAM. So performance related troubleshooting you will do a lot. And if you are doing the performance troubleshooting, these three commands is a mother of performance troubleshooting. So here VM stats will help the virtual memory stats. Okay, helpful for performance monitoring. So it has a hell lot of combinations. Okay, I want you to try it out all this thing. But if you look at this here, if you run only one time, this one time you can run 5 times also. See, automatically it will keep running 5 times. Okay, so you see here, and this is the complete memory utilization. You get it: swap memory, free memory, buffer memory, cache memory, and these are the some of the codings also you need to get comfortable. Now if you want to get it understanding of this VM stack, type debugschool. Dedicated page I'm having for this one. So this will help you to complete stuff. But overall, this is one of the advanced command which will help you to address that all the memories where you are losing and where you are losing all these things. So very advanced command actually. Okay, so that is the VM stats. Now next command which you have, just again. So next command which we have, IO stats. So IO stats, so here remember that VM stats will help you to give you the stats for virtual memory, okay? But IO stats will give you the stats for input output devices, like how much input is happening to the disk, and output devices, how much you are giving output. Okay, so here you see monitor system input, output devices, loading, used for diagnosing the performance issues. So if you see that, display the CPU and device utilization report. But we have more combinations for this to understand that. So here IO stat, if you see, so if you run the IO stats, it's not available in my system. So you can install it. So they have given recommendations already, and install it. So these three commands are very important you to focus on it. So see here how much reading and writing is happening in this machine. Average CPU user, nice system, input output weight, still idle CPU, and these are the list of devices who's using for reading or writing. So again, I have a dedicated blog for it to deep dive, but I'm just giving you at a high level right now. But you should spend, I mean, if you want to become a good troubleshooter, you should spend some time with this very important command for it. Now, next command what you have is MP stats. I think in this tutorial, I'm just checking MP stats is there or not. It's not there. So I'm adding from my side. MP stats is the one you should check it out. So let me go to that area. So after IO stats, you should check the MP stats. So MP stats probably you might is there. So MP stats will help you to for CPU utilization for the systems, and in a detailed way. So if you want to run 10 times, see automatically it will keep running and help you with all the CPU utilizations of it. So likewise you can do that. See here. So at this time all CPU where has been used all this thing, it is been there. So mpstat is also there, one command. Okay, net stats. So now, see here, look at this. Here you worked with adding users somewhere, users and group, and here you work with permissions and ownership. Here you worked with some of the services. Here you work with the logs of the system, very important utility. Again, one more, I'm again repeating, the multiple tools are there for log also, but I mean right now not to focus on everything. CPU, RAM, all these commands, disk, we have it. Again, virtual memory, input output, and mpstat is for the CPU. So now network troubleshooting, how do we do that? So again, there's so many utilities are there. Let me name it some of these. IP, let me run it same time when I call. So here IPA, if config, if config is not there, so you can install this tool actually. Okay, so SAR, MD message, you know, ping. So many commands are there. But this is one of the command I feel it's very good, because this command will tell you who and all is connected to your machines and what they are doing. Okay, so entire activities you will be able to locate at using this command. So here it is displaying the network connections to your machine. It will also help you to routing tables. It will also help you with the interface stats and some of the masquerade connections and multicast membership and stuff like that. That means some zombie processes also. So we have a multiple, options again. This is one of the option which is wonderful and clear. Done. So right now you see that who's connected. I mean, just a simple way if you see. So these are the machines. These are the ports which has been listening, and if you see 22 port primarily, and here someone is making a UDP connections, and when I say someone, that means local machine only. So from this IP address, and from here also some UDP connection is being made. So foreign address is 0.0.0.0, that means from everywhere. That means my machine is hitting, I mean open for the UDP connection. So likewise, none of this program is attached to it right now, but you can see that. So very powerful command if your system is hacked or something like that, or port utilizations or process utilizations or something like that, you can, work with it. Okay, so if you want to work with the socket label, this is the command for it. Again, you might not get this command installed by default, so you can install it separately. If you want to see your IP address, IP commands, IP config was the old command. Now everyone use the IP space A or IP directly. Now guys, IP tables. So anyone would like to tell me what is IP tables? All of you? Anyone have idea? Anyone?
The timetable is we outside we do the port like 22 or 8080
Yes.
target. We
Yeah.
allocate some
So here
firewall.
firewall, Windows also we have a firewall, right? Here you see, and in the firewall, you open the port. I mean, typically enable or disable. You know that you must be knowing this. Either you enable the firewall or disable the firewall. But you know what? This is not a good practice, enabling the firewall or disabling the firewall. Rather than what we do, we disable everything but allow some port number. In Windows, I'm showing you so you'll get comfortable. Okay, so we allow certain ports which is allowed, and we deny certain ports. So here you have a rules, let's of a lot of rule which is allow, deny, all these things. See, action, allow, deny. So accordingly, you can control who should connect it to your machine, and your machine should connect to what, that you can control here. Okay, in Windows is there, you can see my screen. This is the firewall. So you can create a new rule also, and you can say, hey, I will allow this program or port or some different custom rules also. So you can block that any port or programs as such for incoming or outgoing connections. So how do we control in Linux? So that is this is the command iptables. So iptables is a command which will help you to block any incoming address or allow any incoming address. So if you want to see all the rules, this is the simple command to try it out. And right now, I'm not allowed to do that. So sudo, here it is. So right now it's empty one because I'm not added. So this is a fresh machine, right? So you can allow and deny. Do two things you can do that. So see here. Here, this command will block that address, deny the address, but this command will allow. Okay, so here you are blocking the all the traffic from this IP address. Means anyone from that IP address try to make a request to your IP address, it will be dropped at the network layer only. So guys, this is very helpful when you are working with the DDoS attack. So you know that if someone is making some DDoS attack to your website and you know their IP, you can block them their IP. Right now, I mean OS level, usually typically we don't block it, we block at the network level. There's a two firewall, okay, in fact three firewall. OS level firewall, network level firewall, and infrastructure level firewall. So I mean different kind of firewalls are there. Right now this command, the one which I'm talking about, is OS level firewall, IP tables. So yeah, very important commands to allow or block whatever it is and so on. Now this is the new command. The old command which we had where you can disable or enable the firewall is firewalld. So firewalld is a command but also service. So you can disable or enable the service, and we used to use it earlier a lot. For example, if you want to allow HTTP service, very simple way. By the way, you can do here also. Okay, 0.0.0.0. See here, look at this. This command is equal to this command. Okay, so you can use in the combination whichever you are comfortable with it. That's not a problem. So here you are allowing all HTTP, 80 port, HTTPS also you can do that. So likewise. Okay, cron tab. What is a cron tab? So guys, if you want to run certain commands or script regularly without you interfering their schedules. That means you set the schedule, hey, run hourly or daily at every 5 o'clock, or weekly or yearly, whatever it is. Then you work with the commands. I mean cron tab. Okay. So let me show you how do we edit that. So E for edit, L for list. So what is this? Cron tab hyphen L. So if you see that, this is the cron tab for the user which is called Ubuntu. So every user can set the cron tab entry. So right now I don't have it. So if you want to run it some commands regularly or some scripts regularly, you can add it. So for example, how do we add it? E. And here you are asking, first thing is asking, hey, which editor you want to use it. So I'll do Control C. Oh, by mistake. Control X. No, I don't want nano editor. I don't like it. So I'm going to set my editor actually. So how do we set it up? So export uh, editor, export editor in capital is equal to VI. So VI I'm comfortable little bit, have it, and then it's a VI editor. So nano is gone. Now this you see hash, it's a comment. So this is an example for here it is. So this is the minutes, hour, day, month, year, all this thing, and this is your commands which you want to run it in this directory. So very simple. By the way, there is a dedicated site. If you feel you get lost or something, there is a dedicated site which is called cron tab. Cron tab, and this is the one, cron tab group. You can create your own cron tab. So this, you can design your own. So this will run every 5 minutes, fourth hour, every week, every month, every year. So here it is, 4 o'clock, at 4 o'clock 05 minutes. So like this. So this way you can design all this cron tab and run it and done. So I have not made any modifications, but you will make it. So yeah, so what will happen at the time, it will run automatically without you do anything. Okay, so this is the netstat and followed by cron tab. Now tar command I covered yesterday, gunzip, gzip and all, unzip and all we covered yesterday. What is this command? So guys, mount and unmount. So I'm damn sure you might have done in Windows. Let me show you. So go to the disk manager, and here, did you not created a different drive sometime in your life, like D drive, E drive, F drive? So what is this process is called? So mounting. This process is called mount. So right now I have only one mount, one disk and one mount. But if you have additional disk, right click and here you see create a partition and stuff like that. You do that. So this process is called mounting. So you add a new storage to your Linux. You add a flash drive, any other stuff also. You mount it. So mount it, but here is not like a drive concept, C drive, D drive, E drive concept. Here you have a path concept. So I want to see that how many mounts you have it. So if you see that I showed you yesterday, these are the mounts I'm having. Root mount, root dev mount, root dev SM mounts. So these are the mounts you have it. By default, system got created, but you can create your own mount also. So right now I don't have any additional disk, but in AWS sessions we'll have additional disk where we can mount in this command. So you can mount some additional storage. You can mount unmount also. So that is also you can do that. If you want to check and repair the file system, handy commands you can try. If you want to see the logical volumes in your system, SSH to connect to any Linux machine. If you want to copy between the two different remote machines, SAP. Remember CP versus SAP. CP for copying within a system, SAP for across the system. I remember SFTP we were using a lot earlier. Nowadays we are not using it. So wget for downloading any utility and curl which we discussed. So these are some of the options which you have. Okay, so now these are the commands which is very handy when it comes for Linux administration, and you should practice it. Now, next thing which I'm going to cover is very important for me and for you also, and that is like how to troubleshoot Linux. That is a one thing. So this is a very important one because you know what? I'll tell you one important thing. In Linux or being a DevOps engineer or SRE engineer, you know what? 80% of the work which you do is troubleshooting. I repeat, 80% of the work which you do is troubleshooting. Because I must tell you here, most of the automation has been done already. Most of the code has been written already. And if not, you have a AI who's writing a code for people. So now the challenge is not about, you know, how do we write a code, because just specify the right prompt and you'll get a code. But the AI, which is something is he cannot do that, is troubleshooting in the our infrastructure and locate the problems and fix it. And now DevOps and SR is spending a lot of time for that one only. Okay, so For doing the troubleshooting, lots of knowledge and experience is required. But one of the approach which I would like to teach you, which I've been following from last 15 plus years, and it has helped me, so it will help you, it may help you as well. Okay, so before we talk about the troubleshooting in Linux techniques, any questions anyone have so far?
I have a small question, but it's not regarding to the session. It's more about like, the access related to SRE and DevOps, right? Will they be having privileged access, like root access every time for every machine that they support?
Yes.
Okay,
Most of the time, if you are in a SRE team, you will have a root access because you are the owner of the system, no? But in
okay,
a DevOps, which is primarily many times is a pre-production, so you may have a root access to your own machine, but not to the production machine.
okay,
But SRE is equal to production only.
okay.
Okay, so how do we start? So guys, let's say someone is saying, "Hey Rajesh, this application is not working or is down." So there's a very vague statement. He's making one statement, and now from that statement, I have to analyze and find out the RCA. RCA means root cause analysis. So immediately, this all this programming is in my mind right now, but you need to practice it sometime. So for example, how do we start this? So in your mind, first divide the problem into few areas. Which are the area? System troubleshooting. Are you having problem with the system, or are you having the problem with applications? The application which is running in the system. Or are you having the problem with the dependent services? Dependent services. Okay. So now first I would like to check whether my system is okay or not okay. So how do I check? So first I'll see that my CPU utilization, RAM utilization, disk utilizations, processes, services, and input output. Okay. Now these are the things you will check, and then system logs you will check. Okay. Now quickly, how do we check? So CPU. So we have a top command, CPU RAM, we have a top command, free command, vmstat command, iostats command, mpstats command. You know, if you want to see the process, ps command, disk df command, du command, services, you have a systemctl command or ps command, mpstats commands, general commands, tail, and you can. Where do you find all the logs of the system? You must remember this. cd var logs. Here you will find all the system logs, all the system logs. And here you have to locate through general, or this is the syslog, system logs. This is the last log, this is the kernel log, this is the packaging package run, you run apt and all is log. Here Apache log, because I installed yesterday Apache. Amazon is also cloud init log, dms is like networking log, general one is utility logs here. So you have a logs actually. You need to get comfortable with these locations. So all these things, you run this all these commands and done. And you see that are you having problem with the CPU, RAM, disk, process, services, or whatever it is, and within a 2 to 3 minutes you get to know. Are you comfortable, all of you?
Yeah,
Yes.
So now, if my system is okay, then I think I should check the applications. So when I look at the applications, primarily I will first look at this application is running or not. Let's say if it's running but still not accessible, so I look at the logs of the applications. Now this is a subjective because the logs of application, it can be in a different locations, so you should know that where are the logs is being stored. So here system logs, but this is application logs, it can be stored anywhere, we don't know. So for that you need to know very good understanding of the application. Let's say Tomcat stored the logs at a certain location, you know. MySQL stored the logs in certain locations. Apache, Nginx, Oracle, different tools, different locations. So you need to get comfortable. Look at the services, whether it's running or not running. If not running, try to start it. If not starting, look at the logs, see the errors, and then troubleshoot. And now, if you think no, still this is okay, everything is good, then migrate your stuff troubleshooting approach in terms of dependent services. So when you say dependent services, that means network. See the network, see the payment gateways, see the SQS, queue services, SNS, notification services, email services, many services, database services, external. So look at this and see if it is impacting your applications. So this approach you have to define immediately, and all these things you have to do in a 10 to 15 minutes. Only 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so this you have to develop the practice. Some of the reference I have created. So you say Linux performance troubleshooting, troubleshooting, and put the debugschool at the end of it. Okay, and here how to troubleshoot Linux server. This will help you. These are the monitoring guides, checklist and commands, and these are the observability tools. So these four is sufficient for time being. Look at this. I told you, right? Same approach. How do we troubleshoot Linux server? So first system level. Look at this, all this thing, and all the commands we have covered already. Application level, look at the zombie process, application log, web server log, memory leak, app, and everything. Dependent services like SMTP, network, firewall, antivirus, or whatever it is. And the different log levels are also there: trace log, debug log, info log. So you should focus on the error log and stuff like that. Okay, and these are some of the commands already covered in the previous topics. So yeah. So this all this thing you have to keep it handy in 15 minutes, and you have to tell, hey, these are the regions. System is issue, application is issue, third party level, third party dependent services issues. So you have to keep your skills handy. Let's say I'll put it in this way. Some of you are working in this group in XAMPP server, correct? So now, if I'm at your place, if I want to troubleshoot, first of all, I will divide my approach here. First of all, XAMPP log, then here A for Apache log, M for MySQL log. I will locate that. P for PHP log, PHP for next P for PHP myadmin log. Okay, so here I will be ready with this. How do we see the live log? So here is very simple command tell -f and then log locations, you can put it up, whatever it is. And you can see the streaming logs. But if you want to see the old logs more, command you can use, cat command you can use. So all this thing you should be ready. But also same time you should check that whether process is running or not, process is running or not, disk is there or not, there's a CPU issues, RAM issues. So all these things you have to quickly do that, and do not waste your time, and try to find out the root cause and try to fix it rather than removing and installing from scratch. So approach is very subjective. Which project you are currently working on it, you have to define. Let's say if you are working on the Tomcat server, you should know a little bit of Tomcat. You should know JVM configuration, Java configurations, JMX configurations. If you're working on the Python, you should know your architecture of Python, Python logs, application logs, web framework logs, and all stuff like that. So yeah, you have to understand that. Am I making sense? Some sense here, all of you?
Yeah.
Okay, now few articles. This is one of the best image which I can found, and I want to tell you. See, this is the system, and what you want to troubleshoot, you have a commands for it. Again, these commands may go longer, but this will give you visualization, indexing, you can say. So let's say if you want to troubleshoot IP, so you have IP traf, then port, all these things. So here TCP dump, we have command, VM stats, virtual memory, I talked about it. Some IO stats here, MP stats here, top command, and all. So this is a utility only for administrator. If you want to become a administrator in Linux and you want to be the guru in a DevOps, you should practice few times here and all. So many of the utility you may not find in the system. You have to install it separately, by the way. Okay. So I think 60 to 70% you'll find it default installed, but some of them you have to install it separately. For example, SAR is for networking. You might not find it. Dmessage you might not find it. You have to install it actually. So that will be done. So very good image, and it's a one index for everything. Where is the problem? Locate it and run those commands. Okay, so these are the some of the checklist I have created, which will help you. Again, whatever it's being recorded, right? This session. Yeah. So I would suggest you whatever I am asking you to spend some time, please look at this. For example, CPU utilizations, saturations, errors, memory utilization, saturations, errors. Okay, so these are all the commands. It's all about the commands. Linux is all about the commands, and you see that here. So this checklist, I mean, I know that's too much, but this is how you have to practice to become a successful engineer, and so on. Right now, I'll not recommend for kernel and all. That will be too much, but at a Linux level, you can go for it. Okay, so here this is also again you look at this here command list: memory top free vmstat mpstat iostat sar, CPU top vmstat mpstat iostat sar, input output vmstat mpstat iostat sun sar, processes ipcs ipcrm and all kind of things. Okay, so this is your the admin topic. Any questions so far, all of you?
Have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@debugschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.